Hello and welcome to another solo episode on the Traumweberinnen Podcast. Today marks the 6-month birthday or anniversary of the Traumweberinnen Podcast. I'm your host, Manuela, and I'm thrilled to be giving you a little recap today about everything that's happened podcast-wise in the past 6 months, how it's been for me making this podcast, doing solos, doing interviews. Just wanted to let you in on what it has done to me, with me, making this podcast. Yeah, just wanted to give you a little glimpse how the ride has been so far. I started out January 28th with the first episode with my interview with Sarah Gerner, a girl I studied with at university. We did German studies together, and she's on the way to publishing her fantasy trilogy, and I'm so excited for that, and I love having been part of her way, and that she's been my first guest is just an honor for me. And looking back, I'm so grateful for the trust that these women have bestowed on me. Those women that have been the first for me to interview. I'm really, really grateful that, you let me interview you and talk with you. Thank you. Thank you for your grace. And that's kind of where I want to get started. Women. I love interviewing women. I love interviewing the women. Women who inspire me and who are on a path that is not the ordinary path. Women who are chasing their dreams, fulfilling their hearts, their soul's desires, and it's just so inspirational, and it feels so different than what I did before. It feels so different from interviewing random people or people for news or radio interviews. I mean, I loved doing that as well, or I loved parts of that, but I really love the control that I have over who I interview and how I interview them. It's just been a real game changer to be able to do this myself and to feel the trust and the love in these women, interviewing them. And it's just really, I feel like it has a different feel to it. The whole topic of interviewing women that are on their soul's mission, it just fills me up. And that's something, for my whole life, I've been searching for my purpose. Like, I want what I do to have meaning and to bring something into the world that has meaning and that lifts other people up. And I kind of never, this has always been in the back of my mind, but it's never been conscious. The journey, finding something I'm meant to do, yes. But I always had it confused with I have to find something that earns me a lot of money. And the grand meaning of life is to get rich, period. And to live the great American dream, or live this Hollywood dream of finding this one thing that you're super good at and making a lot of money so that I can live in big mansions and everything. And I remember we touched upon this in the first interview we did, Sarah and I. And it's just come back to me that I always linked chasing your dreams with just getting rich. Like, the dream, or the misconception of the dream that I had, was the end goal is to be rich and have fun, but not the being fulfilled part. And now I've kind of, my perspective has shifted, and now I'm like, yes, money is good and you need it to pay for your living, and being rich is nice. I would love to live in a mansion, but what would I do in a mansion if what I did didn't fulfill me? And what would I do in a mansion if I didn't have my girlfriends and people to share my life with and something meaningful to do every day? And yeah, so that really has shifted from I need to find something that is fun and that earns me a lot of money to I want to be fulfilled doing what I do. And this podcast does that. I love finding women to interview and interviewing them, and that I'm not even deliberately looking for them. They come my way, they find me, and I love how easy everything is with this podcast. The interview process is easy. I don't prepare that much. I just follow my intuition, and it's just so easy and flowy, and I love that. And the women that I'm like, it's just love both ways, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy how easy it is. The technical side of things is not that easy, and I would love to be like Oprah and just sitting there talking to amazing people, not having to worry if the microphone is working, if the camera is recording, if everything's working, like just sitting there talking to amazing people, doing amazing interviews, and then everybody else taking care of the rest. But I mean, I guess that's part of the journey, and that's the beauty of the journey of me being able to figure it out, and that there is this challenge of figuring out the technical stuff and figuring out how I can support myself in this journey. Like, I love that it is hands-on and that I am literally building my dream from nothing. Like, I bought the camera, I bought the mics, I bought all this technical stuff. I'm trying it out. It's trial by error, and my personal connections. Through my personal connections, I'm finding interview partners, doing interviews, and through this whole process, my network widens, and I get to know these amazing women just by me being aware of and being conscious of. I want to find amazing women to interview just by shifting this inside of me, that I'm like, please attract amazing women. I'm attracting them, and where was I? Yeah, I love the hands-on process, and I feel like it is something different. Like, it is different when you build your dream up. Like, it's harder for people to take it away from you, because I'm not just an interviewer. I am the whole podcast. I do everything myself, and I feel like this skill set that I'm acquiring through endless hours of work is gonna come in handy at some point in time. And am I recording? Yes, I am. It would be easier if the Traumweberinnen Podcast was already out there. If some company had founded it and they were looking for the perfect interviewer, and then it would be me, miraculously. And then I would have nothing to do with it except interviewing. That would be the easy way and the nice way, and me getting paid for it. But this is my baby. This is like really me building this, and I think it has something magical to it, and I'm actually really enjoying the ride. I enjoy that I have to face these challenges and that I have to overcome bad audio, a camera doing whatever it wants and not what I want, finding the right stuff, trying things out, trying new things, trying new microphones. It's always the microphones, guys, gals. It's always the microphones. But yeah, I hope you get what I'm saying. The magic of building something, I'm actually really enjoying that. And at times it's frustrating. Obviously, it's frustrating. And I'm like, where's the shortcut to this podcast being loved by people, and having a lot of views and being recognized as a top, I don't know what podcast in the spiritual community or in the women's podcast community. I would love that. But then on the other hand, what if I take that shortcut and then I'm not cut out for what comes after? Yeah, so that's been my thinking with that. And on the other hand, I've had so many beautiful, amazing, wonderful feedback from women out there, the women I've interviewed, you out there watching, listening, how much you enjoy the videos, the episodes, and the conversations. And that's really, I have received praise before in my jobs, but this is just, this goes so deep, the praise and the feedback that I get for doing this authentically. There's a difference between someone praising you because they want you to love them or like them, or because they want to be likable to you, and authentic praise. Or someone praising you because they want your expertise or the little expertise that I got. But you know what I mean. There's a difference between really authentic feedback, praise, nice, kind words, and praise inauthentically. There's a difference, and you can feel it. And the authentic, kind words that have come to me, they weigh like gold in my soul. And I'm doing it for these words, and I'm doing it because, I feel like I can really reach some women out there, and they might not be that many yet, but they feel, I feel them, and that's why I'm doing this, and that's what keeps me going. But I'm at a point where I'm like, I feel that this is right, and if I stopped now, I would betray myself. Like, I would literally, I feel like this is the path for me. And the podcast might seem like an amateur project now, but it's my baby. And I love doing this so much. And yes, like every project at the start, it is an amateur project, but it is evolving. And with every step, with every interview, with every solo episode, with every new microphone I try, it's evolving. And I feel like with enough momentum, this can really go far. And at this point, even if I get negative feedback or people not liking it, I'm like, but I love it so much. And I feel like even if just one person was watching it, I would still go on. Because endurance, perseverance will reap rewards at some point. And as I said, I'm gaining knowledge and experience and a skill set that is going to come in handy at some point. And I think it's detrimental that our society thinks in a way like, oh, you're doing a new project, it has to be perfect from day one. And I think that is what sets a lot of people off, or why some people don't even try. They like have an idea for a YouTube channel or a podcast or I don't know, a Reels series they want to do, social media or Pinterest, and some creative idea, and they don't even get started because they're like, it's not going to be perfect when I start. And oh boy, this podcast hasn't been perfect. And I don't know if it ever will be perfect, but it's me. I'm authentically me. You get authentically me with all my imperfections, with all my flaws and all the mistakes that I can make. But I actually love making them. And it feels so good to just be on the path and to find out every step of the way, what is the next step? Like, I can't even answer the question anymore, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I can't even answer the question, where do I see myself in 1 year? Like, everything can happen. I have experienced quick changes in my life. I'm not making any plans anymore. I'm just focusing on me being happy in the present and me pursuing the projects that light me up. I'm just focusing on being happy now and focusing on really being on the path that feels right. And this really lights me up. It's not going to pay my bills, but it's a project that I will meticulously pursue. And yeah. It's not going to be perfect, but you get authentically me. And let's see where that goes, where that leads me. And this actually leads to another point that I've learned from the podcast, or that's something that I've been thinking about for a while, even before I started all of this. I love reading self-help and spirituality books, and I've come across this book by Brené Brown, and I don't remember the title, but it was about vulnerability, and that if we are authentically us and showing ourselves vulnerable and sharing who we truly are, then the universe will answer that, and it will answer that with friends who are authentically themselves as well, and who feel like your connections will be completely different when you don't shy away from showing who you are. And this is something that I've thought about a lot in these past few days, actually, that when you are not who you truly are with someone, you're not having a relationship with them. And when you are who you are, when you're authentically you with all your flaws and imperfections and who you really are, those connections are so much deeper. And I experienced this in my circle of friends. Like, I'm not as deep in connection with all of them. I have a couple of close friends who I'm like really well connected, and who I can be so authentically me. It's a blessing. I could scream out in joy every time I spend time with them, because it's like, how is this even possible to have such a deep connection with someone, and to have people in my life who hold me and to love me for who I am? But that's something that I had to be vulnerable too, and be give them the power to hurt me. And they have graced me with reciprocating and giving me the power to hurt them. But in these relationships, it's not about hurt. It's about sharing our stories. And through sharing our stories, learning, understanding, and evolving as loving human beings, and learning how to better love the other person. I think what I want to say is that I have experienced a level of love through being vulnerable and through being authentic, that I know that I can be authentic and vulnerable. I'm allowed to be authentic and vulnerable, and the people that matter will love me even more for being that. And that's why I have the strength and the courage to be myself in public, or to be truly myself in this podcast, because I have experienced with friends that those who matter will be drawn by that. When I started this podcast, and ever since I started this podcast, I have had friends or people being really confused about this, about the fact that I'm doing this. And a lot of some people were like, but don't share about this or that. Don't share too much. Don't share about me. Don't share about our friendship. They were scared, and that's totally legitimate. and I get that. But I think being vulnerable is more important than trying to please people. And there are so many other formats out there where people just try to be liked and people just try to be, I don't know, the best at something. And I think here's the difference between really, am I sharing something because I feel like this is the right thing to share in terms of, will this make me more likable? Or is this the right thing to share in terms of, does this actually help people? And one of my favorite podcasts is Next Level Soul by Alex Ferrari. And I listened to an episode today about a woman who had survived extreme trauma and multiple cases of rape and like really, really tough stuff. And I can imagine a lot of people telling her, don't talk about rape, don't make yourself vulnerable, don't talk about the fact that you have been raped. But her sharing that can help so many other survivors of that kind of trauma. And her sharing that is a sign of hope that you can survive that kind of severe trauma, and that you can not only survive but thrive and be a beacon and a guiding light for other people. And I'm not saying that I have survived even nearly something as severe as that, but I feel like that we should publicly speak about things that make us vulnerable in order to support, help, and uplift each other. I want to speak to this little group of women that are also chasing their dreams and who feel like this path that they have walked on for so long, this normal path of fitting in and doing the right thing, getting the prestigious job or getting the job that their parents want them to have and working in that job for the next 30 years, or being in a relationship just because it looks good to have someone and to, because your parents are proud that you've found such a good match. No, I'm speaking to this little group of women who are like, I want more. I want to know how other women did it. I want to know what other women do to build their dreams. What can I do to heal? Is there something that is holding me back? Is there something in my psyche, in my DNA, in my upbringing, in my energy that is holding me back? What can I do to step into my highest timeline, into who I truly am, and into my power? How can I tap into that source? You know, women who inspire us to chase our dreams and to build the life that we truly want. And sometimes it's just a knowing that the path that you're on is not right, and that you have so much more potential, and that other things like music, art, dance, working with people, listening to people, giving advice to people, playing computer games, shooting videos, making photos, creating clothes, furniture, pillowcases, you name it. And that really lights you up, and that you feel so alive doing that you have no clue how to build a career out of that. Same. I also have no clue how to build a career out of this, but just the setting out on the path, I think, is the first step that we can do. And I can tell from experience that the universe rewards those who take a leap of faith and who set out on the path, who are like, I'm ready, universe. I'm getting my backpack and I'm setting out on my journey, and I'm doing the little steps that I as a human being can do. And then the universe is like, I like this girl. I'm going to send something her way. I'm going to send some good people her way. I'm going to send opportunities her way. I'm going to send good energy her way. I'm going to send amazing adventures her way. And I can vouch for that. That is what's happening. That's how the universe works. And it might take years. It might take time. It might happen really quickly. And you don't even have to really know what you want to do. It's just follow that hunch and spend some time dreaming, thinking about what you would love to do. And think about the past years when I was still working at my old job, working for radio and TV. I was like, parts of this I really like, but a lot of it I don't like. And I had to spend months thinking. I did so much head work, and I know overthinking is bad. Well, overthinking combined with worrying, I think, is detrimental to your mental health, and it definitely was for me. Like, I was in a really bad spot, but I was really putting the pieces together, and I was like, what exactly is it that I don't like? And is there anything in my current situation with this job and with this firm that I can make better in the job? Is there something that I can change in the job to make it better and to make it more like the dream job that I thought it was? And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, it's not the work, it's the fact that I'm employed, that I have to do journalism, doing interviews a certain way with certain people. It's not so much the work itself. It's also not the time pressure. I'm actually good with time pressure, but I don't want to do it for other people. I don't want to do it with guidelines. Okay. And it took me months to figure that out. And then I was like, how can we change that? Or what, like you hear it from so many people. Oh, find the one thing that you're so passionate about that lights you up. The same yada yada that I've just done. Like it doesn't help you when you're in the midst of chaos and not loving your life right now. You're like, well, but there is nothing that lights me up. Nothing that lights me up that I can do. Because I was like, oh my God, like the last straw of hope, or the last thing that keeps me going, that's like really helping me shift my energy from crappy to joyful, were spiritual podcasts. I love Oprah and her interviews, her talk shows. Love it. And then I was like, I need to move to the US because all the spiritual people seem to be in the US. First mistake, because there's so many spiritual people here. Just listen to my podcast. I still am so addicted to spiritual podcasts and interviews with spiritual people. And then I was like, okay, then that is what lights me up. Listening to stories, or even having conversations with women around me who are on that path. And it took me at least half a year to figure this out. And it's been step by step by step. So don't be discouraged if you're like, if you know that status quo is not making you happy, but you don't know what else to do. That's fine. That's totally fine. But think about it. Really think hard about it and daydream. What are the scenarios that you make up when you daydream? What are the conversations? What are the topics where you're like so passionate about? Maybe it's climate. Maybe it's animals. you name it. It can be anything, but pay attention to what you love talking about, what you love listening to when other people talk about it. Be aware of yourself, basically, for a couple of months, and then filter. And if it's not something that you can change right away, then that is also fine. I have a job that pays for my rent and for my living, and it's not my dream job, but it has the conditions that I need right now. It's a job that makes me happy and that pays my basic needs and that supports me in my growth. I have a job now where I learn skills that I can use for my own projects, and vice versa. What I learn here, I can test out in what I do at my day job. Like, it's going hand in hand. It's a huge support for me in my dreams, having this job that gives me so much rest and calm. And yeah, I feel like it calms my nerves in a sense, because I'm not in constant survival, because I have to deliver at a certain level. I'm actually allowed to have phases, and there are phases where I need to deliver, and I can deliver, because then there are phases of rest where projects are finished, and then it goes up again. And I have found out that for me and for my personality, that is really healthy and good, and not a constant, you have to deliver, but a time to deliver, time to rest, time to deliver, time to rest. And I really, really like that. Change and growth is not a light switch. It's a dance. And knowing that the status quo doesn't make you happy is the first step, and it's a good first step. And then you can start thinking about yourself, who you are, what you want, what you love, what you're good at, what people appreciate about you, where you already serve people, and what it is that people value you for. Think about what can support you on your way there. What are the in-between steps, or what are the little baby steps that you can already take to make yourself feel better, to get some weight off your shoulders, basically. You want to get the weight off your shoulders. You want to have your head clear. You want to be out of survival mode so that the creativity can flow, and you're like, okay, my basic needs are met. I at least like what I do every day, and I'm not in survival mode every day. I have good people around me. The people around you, don't get me started. We've been there already a little bit, with people not supporting who you are and what you do, and people supporting what you do. And once you leave the path that everybody is on, and once you start getting ideas that are not mainstream, you will find out who your tribe is. And I recommend you surround yourself with your tribe. And if there are no people supporting what you do, know that I support what you do, and that there are people out there who do support you. I love being in women. That's why I love women's circles, Frauenkreise, and especially entrepreneur women's circles. They are elite. If you set out on your path and nobody supports you, I promise you, there are people, women out there that support you. You just have to find a new tribe. And you will. When you walk your path in your true authenticity, you will attract these people. And I can recommend asking the universe or God for it. I can definitely recommend that. That's how I got my best friend. And I think I've told that story before. But ask the universe. If you feel really alone and you need a friend, you need someone who who understands you, who gets you, who's walking in your shoes, or who is at least in similar shoes. Ask the universe for it. Be like, hey, God, universe, source, higher power, I can't do this alone. I need you to help me. Please help me. I promise you, you will be supported. Let me know in the comments if your prayers have been heard before. Or if you're like, I'm unsure and I want to find friends and I want that support, but I'm having a hard time trusting. Let me know in the comments, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're like, yes, girl, I need that support and I want to support you. I know it feels really uncomfortable at first, leaving that comfort zone of doing what everybody else does. I can promise you, being authentically you will draw people to you you have not even imagined that they exist. And they will be your best friends, and they will hold you and support you. And I promise you that being authentic, being vulnerable feels better, is better than people pleasing. I want to leave you with, be vulnerable, be authentic. If you're unhappy, really take the time to think about it. Meditate on it, daydream about it. I'm a huge daydreamer. I love daydreaming, so I don't meditate as often anymore as I used to, and I can recommend meditation. I have experienced beneficial effects. I'm just more of a daydreamer. Really, really take time for yourself and think about yourself. Take the time to think about yourself. And I know that sometimes you might feel powerless because you're like, oh my God, I've been doing something for years that's not making me happy. How can I get out of that? You're not alone, and it will get better. You just have to walk through the mist of confusion and of despair. Taking the time to think about what you truly want and who you truly are will pay off. You will find an answer and the fog will clear. I promise you. You're not alone. And being you will attract people who are nothing like the people you are with now in a place where you're not happy. Don't be afraid of losing and leaving people in a stage of unhappiness. Like in the stage that you're in right now. If the stage you're in right now makes you unhappy, and the price you will pay for elevating is losing the people that have been with you in your misery, that is a price, I tell you, that's a price that you can pay. And where years later you will think back and be like, I have chosen myself and my happiness over pleasing other people and over keeping people in my life who were not interested in my growth. Those are the things that I've learned. And that setting out on a path where you have no clue where it leads you is really fun and exciting. And I also sometimes feel helpless and hopeless. Like I could do so much better, and cursing the fact that I don't have more experience and more knowledge in this area, but I'm learning, and it is not an option for me to quit. It's not. I've started out on this path, and I'm gonna stay on it. And I like it here. So be ready to see and hear a lot more of me. But I have to say, every Sunday, posting an episode every Sunday is just unrealistic. With life happening and with summer happening. So I will try to post every second Sunday a new episode, not every Sunday. It has been stressing me a lot the past 6 months to really to make that, and I haven't been able to make it. So every second Sunday, I think, is a good mark for me. So yeah, with this, I leave you tonight. Find your purpose and heal yourself. Yours truly.